world's first atomic bomb was detonated on July 16, 1945 in the desert of New Mexico.
Sa tinatayang higit 100 bilyong kataong namuhay na sa ating mundo, wala pa sa katiting ng 1% ang bilang nila.
This is the time for us to speak of what is best,
whether or not their president is a crook.
Mga taong mistulang niliko ang agos ng kasaysayan at hinimok ang di lang 100,000 kundi 100,000,000 katao na sumunod sa kanilang mga yapak. Ang mga tinatawag nating leader. Alexander the Great, isa sa mga pinakamahusay na mandirigma sa kasaysayan, nanguna sa isa sa pinakamalaking imperyo sa mundo. Nelson Mandela, pinamunuan ang anti-apartheid revolution sa Africa. Mahatma Gandhi, utak sa likod ng natatanging peaceful revolution sa India. At Martin Luther King Jr., ang prominenteng leader ng African-American Civil Rights Movement sa Amerika. Ilan lamang sila sa mga tinitingalang leader sa kasaysayan ng sangkatauhan. Mga dakilang huwaran ng pamumuno na nakapagpabago sa ikot ng mundo at takbo ng ating mga buhay. Ano man ang kanilang naging estilo, liksiman ng katawan ang ginamit, talas ng isip o talim ng pananalita, nagawa nilang himukin ang kanilang mga tagapagsunod tungo sa kanilang mga adhikain. Ngayong nahaharap tayo sa isa na namang eleksyon, kung saan pipili tayo ng leader na ating susundin, tinanong namin ang 5 pinagkakapitagang personalidad mula sa iba't ibang sektor. Mga leader din kung ituring. Ano ba ang dapat nating hanapin sa mga nagpapakilalang leader ng susunod na pamahalaan? Magandang gabi, ito po ang News 5 Year-Ender Special. 5 leader, 5 punto de vista.
I hope the new leader would be a healing president.
The leader must be caring, sharing, and daring.
We need a leader who can cast a vision.
If you're gonna take a public leadership, you have to prepare.
Our next leader, our next president should inspire us to greatness.
Ibinalik niya ang Pilipinas sa mapa ng World Basketball. Diyan kilalang-kilala ngayon si Manny V. Pangilinan o MVP kung tawagin. Pero noon pa man, kampiyon na sa sektor ng kalakalan si MVP. Sa ilalim ng kanyang liderato, naibalik niya sa landas ng tagumpay ang mga kumpanyang nooy nahaharap sa malalaking hamon sa negosyo. Mapa telecom man o power distribution, water concession o infrastruktura, na itaguyod ni MVP ang kanyang mga kumpanya na karamihan ay nabibilang na ngayon sa mga most valued companies sa ating bansa. Ilang ulit na rin siyang inalok na maglingkod sa gobyerno, pero sa ganang kanya, hindi kailangang nasa gobyerno para makatulong sa bayan. Ang kailangan daw ay isang ideolohiyang nakaugat sa pagmamahal sa bayan at pagtitiwala sa kakayahan ng Pilipino.
Success is about passion. Passion to succeed, passion to compete, passion for excellence. There is no magic, no mystery, no secret recipe, and no shortcuts. Success, in fact, springs from values that are basic and old-fashioned.
Meron ba kayong mga role models for leadership?
Si Mandela is one. Sa akin, his most endearing quality was he was a healing president, a unifying president.
Your commitment and your discipline has released me to stand before you today.
He was the right person at the right time for South Africa. And of course, he was such an iconic figure. Huge presence, huge gravitas as a leader. As another leader, I would say he was a German general in World War II, General Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, because I think he was one of the best tactical generals in the whole history of warfare. And the third is a figure of antiquity. Alexander the Great, because he, such a young man, managed to conquer most of the world, and he exhibited most of the qualities I admire in a leader, because he was hands-on, he was there in the field, battling with troops and so forth. So, and his contribution to culture was also quite monumental.
Do you believe that leaders are born and that you can only train them so far? It has to be inherent.
Maybe some are natural-born leaders. There's something in their DNA that makes them natural leaders. But I believe most of the leaders are really trained, are really formed. Sabi nga, di ba, the office forms the man as well. Because, in any situation, whether parliamentary or presidential system, there are no schools for prime ministers, no schools for presidents. So, in a way, the office will form the man, or woman, as the case may be. It's just that you have to be, the leaders have got to be conscious that he is the leader and that he has responsibilities, accountability to himself and to his people. That's why our group has always been honored and proud to support your association.
They say that it's easy enough to be a leader of a corporation, but running a nation is another matter altogether.
Yes, running a nation is different from running a corporation, no? But there are important similarities in running a corporation, running a nation, and there are very important differences. Una-una, once you become the CEO of any group, you don't have unfettered authority to do what you want to do. Because siyempre sa gobyerno, merong legislature dyan, merong judiciary, at saka may mga batas, no? Kailangan na sundin mo. Sa korporasyon, ganun din. Especially now, yung governance principles are very key to assessing a CEO's performance. Like a corporation gets the shareholders driven by the qualities of the CEO. Like a country gets a leader that the people elect.
That's right. Yes.
So it's the government you deserve because you elected this particular leader. In the case of corporations, you will attract the shareholders that are attracted to your kind of leadership in a corporation. Well, I cannot imagine what it will take. No, any president would be, under severe pressure from all sides as to what he or she wants to accomplish. But that's why it's very important that if you could articulate and define your ideology, because that will guide you through 6 difficult years. No? For example, kung poverty ang talagang the central theme of your administration, every decision you make will be guided by that ideology. For example, yung traffic natin, gagawin mo kung anong mag-alleviate ng traffic problems mo. Kung nangangailangan ng bigas, kaya mais, then agriculture is a priority for you. There's a central defining theme of your administration. Ano ba yun? Yun ang importante. Then people, I think, can understand kung ano man. Then your decisions will flow from that ideology.
Ang malasakit sa mahirap ay hindi napapag-aralan.
Ninanakaw nilang pera ng gobyerno. Ibibili nila uli ng boto ng taong bayan.
I will not allow you to continue pagpahirap sa Pilipinas.
Hinding-hindi ako lilihis sa daang matuwid.
Nasa kamay ng tao ang pag-unlad.
Some of the presidentiables I've met, no? One of the things I've encouraged them to say, to articulate, is their ideology. And I'm encouraging them to think about poverty. Alleviation of poverty, inclusion, that has been talked about for so many administrations. You have to articulate who you are, and then I would hope then people can make as much as they can an educated guess about who amongst, for example, these presidentials would, in their view, fit their circumstances.
Sir, sa puntong ito kasi ng ating political history, marami ang nagsasabi na parang walang makitang leader at kung meron man, hindi tiyak kung ano ba talaga ang dapat hanapin sa isang mamumuno sa bansa. Ano po ba ang sa pananaw ninyo, mga katangian, kung merong top 3 qualities that you can confine yourself to in terms of what should define a good leader, what would those be?
It boils down to really 2 attributes, at least sa akin. No? Number 1 is integrity. And it has two branches, if you may, two types of integrity. One is, of course, financial integrity, di ba? Parang hindi magnanakaw, hindi nilulusa yung pera ng tao or pera ng korporasyon, di ba? And the other is what I would call mental honesty. You say it as it is. Walang second guessing. And it also, frankly, even in a corporate situation, it minimizes the politics, di ba? Kung malinaw ang mensahe ng liderato. Second is competence. So, you gotta have the skills of a leader, no?
Well, marami nga pong nagsasabi na nandun na tayo sa punto na namimili na lang tayo ng number 1, least of evils. At number 2, namimili tayo between mas gusto mo ba yung competent pero corrupt o malinis pero incompetent.
To a degree, we can't seem to get the formula right. As I said, mahirap talagang makahanap ng attributes, qualities, characteristics that inhere in one particular person na talagang siya na. No?
Ano yung pinakamalaking hamon sa ating bansa?
Ako, poverty ka na. Maraming tao na mahirap. No? And yun ang priority dapat ng any president, whether it's the incumbent president or the incoming president. No? So, because at the end of the day, all of the things we're saying about leadership and management and presidency and so forth, you have to relate that to the actual human experience, di ba? I mean, why are you here? It is really to improve people's lives, isn't it? I mean, you were elected leader because you want to improve the welfare of our people. No?
But they say, for example, that it's a very fragmented people. No? There's no unity. Tapos we're a damaged culture. We've been through so much in our history, and do you think these are obstacles that a president will have to address in the 6 years that he...
Absolutely. In the times that I would visit the provinces, no, hindi ko maramdaman na ang mga tao sa particular, let's not name any particular town or city, parang hindi ko maramdaman na parang they feel themselves to be Filipinos. They're either Ilonggos or Cebuanos or yun ang nangunguna eh. Para bang walang connect tayo bilang isang bansa. Kanya sa akin, one of the qualities I hope the new leader would have would be a healing president.
Lean is, to me, 10% talking and 90% leading by example.
Sa 26 na taon niyang karera bilang coach sa Philippine Basketball Association o PBA, 18 beses niyang naiuwi ang kampyonato sa liga. Si Tim Cone na nga ang winningest coach sa PBA. Pero anya, kahit pa 12 tao lang ang minamanduhan niya sa hardcourt, ang prinsipyo ng pamumuno sa bansa at sa mga manlalaro nakasentro dapat sa integridad.
I usually don't get to see you guys here after the first game of the conference. I'm usually on the other locker losing side, so feels good to come out and get our first game. Yung character ng players, ang grabe. This team is special.
You put 12 people into a room, and it's just 12, right? You're not talking about a country or a company. You're talking about a basketball team with 12 people. You put 12 people in a room, and you say, okay, you guys decide what you want to do. And there'll be 12 different ideas, 12 different visions, 12 different ways of going about things, because they'll all have their own idea. So, you have to have that one guy that can come in and try to bring everybody together and try to get everybody a vision and a direction in which to go to, and try to keep on the road to wherever you decide to go. And that's not always easy because, again, you have different personalities in the room, different ideas in the room, and some will feel left out, some will feel a part of it, some will be jealous because you might be the leader. I mean, there's so many things that goes on to leadership and good leadership.
Then we have to foul. Game's over. They make one free throw.
That's why it's so difficult. It's difficult to lead a team. It's difficult to lead a company into success. It's certainly difficult to lead a country into success. I mean, imagine, I'm talking about 12 people, then you talk about 120 million people or 110 million people, you know, everybody trying to, you know, have their own idea of what's right and what's wrong. It's very difficult.
Phil's going to get run here. If he's not careful, he's got the first tee. He's out in midcourt. Jackson's calling a timeout.
Phil Jackson, you know, the old Chicago Bulls and Los Angeles Lakers coach. I think mostly because of him, because of his sustained success, his ability not only be successful, but to sustain success. And that's a very difficult thing from a leadership standpoint.
Jackson will stay in the game.
My favorite one from him is the team itself leads the team. And that is one about the idea that he wants to develop leaders and develop leaders within the team so that they can lead as well. And rather than just be from one leader.
There's no magic pill that's going to change, you know, who we are or what it's going to take to succeed.
Fred Uitensu, my boss for 23 years with Alaska. You know, I grew up with him. I grew up my whole coaching philosophy with him. And Fred is, oh, he had many also, but I think my favorite from him is good enough never is.
Sandberg Coffee Grand Slam champions of the PBA.
Agad lumapit si Coach Tim Cone kay Rainer Shine Coach Yang Yao para makipagkamay.
Without a vision, you have no direction. You know, people don't know what to do. The vision gives people an idea of what needs to be done. And you need to be able to communicate that.
Equal opportunity offense na pinakita dito ni Coach Jason Webb. Something that he learned from Coach Tim Cone.
But again, there's always going to be those stop and go times where it's very difficult. And you know, you might have to adjust your vision here or there as you go because of roadblocks that may come along. But as long as you are continuing to cast that vision and you're continuing to communicate early to your people and they can see what you're doing, then oftentimes the sailing becomes very smooth. You know, I think that for a leader himself, number one has to be integrity. You know, you have to live what you preach. You have to be the shining example, and you have to have a level of honesty about you so that, you know, people can see that. Number two, I think, is compassion. I think you have to be compassionate, have empathy for the people you lead, and understand that they are not perfect and they are not going to do all the right things all the time. And they have their faults and they have their strengths. And if you have compassion, you can look through that and look beyond it and still continue to lead.
Tim Cone is really very, very mad because
thirdly, maybe self-discipline. As a leader, there's so much temptations to take advantage of here or there because you're in a position that you can take advantage. Leading is, to me, 10% talking and 90% leading by example. And that's where the self-discipline comes in. You have to resist the temptations that are around you and remember that you're not there for yourself as a leader, but you are you're doing a service to the people around you.
We would spend as much time as is necessary, Mr. President, to make sure that such issues are properly addressed.
We need a leader, and we need a leader of all the things we talked about. Someone who can cast a vision, someone who can have integrity, and you know, not everybody has all those strengths. You know, the problems we have as a country can be so overwhelming and daunting. There's just, you know, simple problems like traffic, or more difficult problems like the gap between rich and poor, or, you know, the problems with corruption, problems with pollution, problems with education. I mean, it's just one problem after the next. And the problem that our leader will have is, how do we prioritize? You know, which problem are we going to solve? Which problem will benefit the most people? And I think these are the kind of leader that the country needs, is someone who's going to approach each of these problems and be able to have a vision on how to attack each problem and prioritize how to do that. And that's not an easy task, and that's going to be very hard to find a leader who can do all of that. you have to choose and you have to make a choice and you have to decide who is that person going to be.
Sabihin nyo, accountable kayo sa akin. Sinasabi nyo kami ang boss nyo. Sige, sabihin nyo sa akin, bakit yung isang opisyal nyo dyan nangungurakot? Paki-explain.
Isang haligi ng industriya ng pamamahayag sa bansa, isa na ngang institusyon sa mundo ng media, si Cheche Lazaro. Hindi lang dahil sa kanyang angking galing at talino sa paghatid ng mga natatangi at makabuluhang mga kwento at balita, kundi maging sa kanyang pag-angat ng pamantayan ng etika at integridad sa larangan ng investigative journalism.
Gandhi's revered as the most important Indian of all time.
Mahatma Gandhi was a great leader. He inspired a revolution that was non-violent. That's an inspiring leader. Because you look at him and you say, nagagawa niya nun, nagagawa niya yan, kaya ko rin yan.
100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty.
Martin Luther King was an inspiring leader. Yung speech niyang, I have a dream.
I have a dream that my poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Tinitingala mo siya dahil sa gusto mong i-share yung dream niya. And I think in every leader, there is that desire to do great, to become greater than yourself.
In 2016, we are not engaged in entertainment for the Filipino public. We are choosing the next leader of the Philippines.
I have a plan for the future of our nation, but I believe what sets me apart is my track record.
I do not want discrimination. You have to make.
Kaya nating marating ang ating mga mithiin para sa bayan kung magsisipag, magmamatyag, at sisiguraduhin na may tapat na gagabay sa atin.
Lahat nagtutulungan, lahat nagsasakripisyo, lahat iniisip lamang ang kapakanan ng pangalaga.
Our next president should inspire us to greatness. Nadadala tayo sa kanta, sa sayaw, sa mga promise na wala namang laman, na ang lalaki nga ng mga promise, gagawin kong I will fight poverty, I will do this. Paano nyo gagawin yun? Promise kayo na hindi kayo mangungurakot. Una, mag-promise kayo na bubuksan nyo lahat ng record para yung ating mga tao, alam nila kung ano yung mga deal na ginagawa nyo. Sabihin nyo, accountable kayo sa akin. Sinasabi nyo kami ang boss nyo. Sige, sabihin niyo sa akin, bakit yung isang opisyal niyo dyan nangungurakot? Paki-explain.
I signed Proclamation number 1081 placing the entire...
Alam mo, bumabalik ako sa martial law. Yung panahon na yon na kinitil lahat ang mga democratic processes were all killed during martial law. And also, culturally, we got used to patronage politics. So, boboto lang kita kung pwede mo akong bigyan ng 500 pesos o kung may promise ka na ganito. The culture of patronage politics has persisted. This is medieval in today's world. Today, the voter is independent. You cannot bribe a voter to vote for you in other countries. They would consider it an insult that you are buying my vote. Because the theory is, you can't buy me. I will do what I want to do. Why are our poor? Why do we have so many children who are uneducated? Ako, my personal bias is the children kasi sila ang kinabukasan natin eh. Kung hindi sila mag-aaral, paulit-ulit na iboboto yung pwede magbayad, yung nagpa-fiesta, yung nagpa-Zumba contest, yung gano'n. It becomes a vicious cycle. But it can be changed eh. It can be changed with an inspiring leader. A leader who will inspire us to be better than ourselves. Kung ngayon, sanay tayo sa, sige, bayaran mo ako, gagawin ko yan. Kung tanggalin yung kulturang yan, because a leader will inspire you to go beyond yung nakasanayan mo. So, nagtatanong ako, mahal ba nila ang bayan natin? Mahal ba nila ang Pilipinas? O tayo mismo, mahal ba natin ang bayan natin? At kung ang sagot ay oo, mag-iiba siguro tayo.
The leader must be caring, sharing, and daring.
Kinikilala bilang isa sa mga pinaka-epektibong presidente ng Pilipinas, ilang dekada ang ginugol ni dating Pangulong Fidel V. Ramos para mapalawig ang kanyang karanasan sa militar. Ang kanyang naging disiplinadong pagsasanay, kabilang na ang pag-aaral sa prestigyosong West Point Academy sa Amerika, itinuro sa kanya ang kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon ng malinaw na layunin para sa mga pinamumunuan at sa kanyang naging platapormang Philippines 2000 na nakasentro sa hangaring gawing world-class ang mga Pinoy.
Ang bansang ito'y mananaig. Ang bansang ito ay uunlad muli.
Ano po sa inyo ang pakahulugan po ng tunay na leader?
Para sa akin, simple lang eh. 3 palabra. O ika nga eh, 3 pangalan ng magagandang Pilipina. Si Karing, si Charing, at saka si Daring.
Sino po
Ang gusto sabihin niyan, the leader must be caring, sharing, and daring. Yung daring ang mahalaga sa lahat kasi ang gusto sabihin niyan sa ating lipunan ay daring to give more than to take. Hindi kurakot. Okay. Pero kailangan yan may suma. Ika nga eh, mayroong overall na magiging world class yung tao na yun. Hindi lang pang Pilipino pero pang buong mundo.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Ito mga model ko eh. Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany. Tiga eastern side of Germany. Yung minority. Komunista pa yan.
Nelson Mandela's struggle for freedom.
Nelson Mandela. Ngayon iba namang hamon yun na apartheid, black and white. Pero siya black, napagsama-sama niya lahat. Mustafa Kemal. Ito, iba naman yung pinanggalingan niya. General Kemal Atatürk of Turkey. Pero Kemal Atatürk, kasi Muslim, made the country and led it to a very advanced level as a secular country na hindi yung religion ang nagdidikta o namumuno.
Nung kayo po ay Pangulo na, and as you look back on your presidency, ano po sa pananaw ninyo yung 3 pinaka-daring na ginawa ninyo bilang Pangulo?
Yung ambisyon ko para sa buong bansa, yun ang pinaka-daring sa lahat yun. At yun ay yung Philippines 2000 na nga ang pangalan niyan eh. Upang sa termino ng aking 6 years ay ang ating buong bansa at lahat na ng mga sambayanan ay umangat at nagkaroon ng competitiveness in the world dahil sa tayo ay pumapasok sa bagong siglo.
Bakit ho ambisyoso yun noon sa konteksto ng panahon ninyo?
Dahil sa halos zero yung pinanggalingan natin eh. Walang kuryente na sapat. We had 10 to 12 hour brownouts every day with due respect to all the others, no? Ikalawa po, halos zero yung ating economic growth looking at the last 4 years.
Ano ho yung 3 mga katangian sa pananaw ninyo na talagang immutable, hindi dapat labagin?
Para sa akin, 4 yan eh. Immutable, irreversible, love of God, love of country. Dito papasok yung caring and sharing eh. Hindi tayo dapat masaya. Kung meron tayo nakikita mga naghihirap na tao dyan sa kalye, o mga mga kabataan kagaya ninyo na tumatakbo, humahabol ng jeepney para makasakay, para makapunta sa trabaho, baka siya ma-suspend. Wala tayong public transportation na maganda Yung mga ganon. Pero ang isang importante, yung team. Maaaring magaling tayo lahat, pero kung hindi tayo nagkabuklod-buklod, nagkakaisa, nagsasama-sama bilang isang barkada, sayang naman.
Marami ho nagsasabi na tuwing eleksyon, parang nauuwi raw po ang decision-making ng botante sa dalawang bagay lang. Mamimili ka sa either incompetent pero hindi corrupt or competent pero corrupt. Ano masasabi niyo doon?
Nasa sistema natin yan Bridge, more corruption. Dahil yan ay nakabase sa family political dynasties that results in family economic dynasties. Huwag tayo sana maging ganon. Yung parliamentary ang susi niyan.
But do you think it's just the system that makes us this way? Yun lang ba yun?
No,
is that the reason why we don't have leaders that
bridge the leaders that are handicapped at the very beginning because of the system.
Bakit hindi ho naging katanggap-tanggap yun?
Hindi, kasi nasa utak ng ating electorate You just go with the winner.
I guess that's the question. What kind of a leader can actually convince or influence people to get out of their mindset? Or
The leader must work on the vision, no? At the next leader must build on the gains para yung, kumbaga, ilalagay mo siyang graphic analysis yan. Pataas ng pataas yung kilos ng buong bansa. Sa presidential system, every 6 years, may pag-ganun back to square one. Pagkatapos, angat ka naman. Pero the next term, down.
Actually, isa ho yan sa pinakamalaking hamon ng isang Philippine leader, nga sabi po nila, no? Marami nga nagsasabi, sir, di ba, damaged na tayo, at saka napaka-regionalistic natin, and we fight against each other.
Yun na nga isang pinakamalaking hamon para sa atin lahat. Kaya lang humanap tayo ng isang one united Philippine team na competitive in the world yan.
Itong Pilipinas napakaturpe.
Naniniwala ako.
Can you imagine, kung lahat niyan ay talented, skilled, effective? My goodness, we can be a powerhouse.
Leadership is what you do, it's not who you are. So when you ask me where do I find this, it's the people that do, and that's the people, not the people that think that they are leaders.
Sa kabila ng karangyaan sa kanyang buhay, mas pinili ng social entrepreneur na si Ilak Diaz na makisalamuha sa mga kababayan nating nasa laylayan ng lipunan. Gamit ang samut-saring alternatibong arkitektura at teknolohiya tulad na lang ng Liter of Light, nagawang hikayati ni Ilak ang mga kabataan na gumawa ng sariling hakbang para tulungan silang makaahon mula sa kanilang kahirapan.
Pag nasira yung battery, pag nasira isang product, kailangan mo itapon yun, kailangan mo bumili ulit. I would say that, the country I grew up very much into, these typhoons. Every time that there would be a typhoon, we would always be gathering rice and clothes, 3 cups of rice, and I was always thinking how short-term that was. Is this all that I could do? I would do it in high school, I would do it in college, in grad school. I would always be putting rice in this thing, and I was thinking, there must be something we're not always hand out. Can we do something where it was more sustainable? And I said, when can a Filipino take on a global giving back. Why do we always have to be a beneficiary? Why can't I haven't heard of a Filipino or a Filipino group go out into the world and say, look, thank you so much, but we can do global change.
But my best wasn't good enough.
You come here and you have great art, some of the best boxers in the world, some of the best singers in the world. Where is that on a global stage when it comes to, the humanitarian? So having gone through that almost every year where disaster strikes and fire strikes, and my parents and, my school and people saying, you must get involved and, you must help out.
Did it start with a vision? You're taking on this leadership role. Was that a conscious effort to lead, or this just come out of your desire to just help?
People see me as the leader because I'm in the lights, I'm in the stage, then that becomes my downfall, which is I should be able to create an army of leadership, an army of leaders that will be able to attack poverty on different fronts, because it's a complex. It becomes both taking the lead, but at the same time looking behind and saying, wait, how many people are with me in this? You have to inspire other people to also come up with their own sustainable business solutions. That creation of an army is as valuable or even more valuable than you setting an example.
Ito yung sinatawag na revolusyon na pag super affordable na siya, tapos makakagawa rin ng yung parang tinatawag na bayanihan solar.
This kind of love where I would get people that actually saw things built right away was our pull factor. Young people wanted to see that their work resulted in something solid. Liter of Light enables somebody, a young person within an hour to be a solar engineer, to build lamps, to be able to build street lights, and actively see who is going to benefit. In 2017, we will hit 1 million houses around the world. So young people are coming out of everywhere because they're very sensitive to this new kind of change. The only way that young people actually see a way forward is that invaluable success that he is making an impact on poverty. To go into the camps as young people and to come out to the camps completely lit by light is a success where he has changed a life of a family, and this is such great value that it's addicting. It's something where he has felt that his life is not just a matter of being happy with stuff. You can't isolate yourself. So you see the inequality of what's happening out there, and you want to make it a better place for yourself and for others. Leadership is what you do, it's not who you are. So when you ask me where do I find this, it's the people that do, and that's the people, not the people that think that they are leaders. Ang daming mga malalakas na mga vision, pero pag pinatrabaho mo, konting ulan, umuuwi. What we need is people that will do that for months and years, because you're talking about a big problem. What you need is an army of people with small solutions that are putting it together every day. That kind of leadership that says, what about society? I can't live only by myself kasi if I don't improve society, maapekto rin ang quality of life. Paglabas ko sa bahay ko o paglabas ko sa mall, sabihin, there are people out there that are part of this, and the bigger leadership, which is what about society?
Can you actually change the politics in this country so that it can better support the kind of change that you're actually instituting at the grassroots?
I go where change is. Change allows me. You want to help as many people as possible. The last thing you would want is wait for Philippine political change.
Kanong katagal na to sa
July pa.
July pa to last year, di ba?
If there's somebody running a generator charging all the all the people in the village, 10, 15 pesos a day, and don't want to let you in to give, solar lighting, then I don't come in. But you go to the next island and the next island, and you find your star. So we pick our battles. Politics is shifting, but not too much. I really believe in capacity of innovation of the youth, of innovation in social business. But to scale, you need government. You need government to be able to, to be able to access this. The one thing about government, I think, with many young leaders I have is parang it's on-the-job training. They get elected and saka na lang dun, they're trying to figure out what is their vision. I mean, you have to prepare. If you're gonna take a public leadership in a corrupt system, how can an honest man rise? As soon as you start implementing policies of honesty and standing your ground, you're the first one out. What is that system of government that we have, and does it allow certain systems of change up the chart? With 100 million people, there is no such thing as no genius that could fix it.
Sino ang may integridad? Sino ang mananagot? May magmamahal bang tunay sa ating bayan? Yan ang leader na dapat piliin, ang leader na dapat maluklok. Pero wag nating kalimutan, ang botante ang siyang pipili sa leader na ito. Isa lamang siya. 40 milyon tayo, kaya atin pa rin ang tunay na kapangyarihan. Ako po si Luchi Cruz-Valdes, kasama ninyong haharap sa hamon ng pagpili sa ating susunod na leader.